Hi everyone. Today we will be going to discuss about the differences between Google Analytics and Google Analytics 4. I hope many of the existing clients have been already moved to the GA4 who are in standard, and probably the existing people who are using the GA360 probably they must be continuing both GA3 and GA4 together. However, let's understand a few things that where we can have some of the difficulties when while we are using the GA4 as well, because since everybody has been adapted to the regular GA from a very long time, we need to understand what are the upcoming things that can be. So this could be a possible features also that can be incorporated in the GA4 in the upcoming features, but currently at this point of time we don't have these kind of a features that are directly available. So let me walk you through a top 10 features that we can cover it in the today's thing. First thing is annotations. Annotations in GA is a very much base kind of a thing where everybody started using when there is a change happened from a technical point of view, or when there is a filter added in the GA itself, or when we are adding any kind of rules that we are trying to create. So all those things we can annotate, and we can see that from when the data, when this change has been happened, and when there is a sudden spike, what could be the issue of the spikes, or when there is a sudden dip of the data, what could be the issues, possible issues of that dips and all. So because of that, we are able to clearly identify that okay, this is the reasons behind the scenarios. But now in the GA4, this is not possible at this point of time because there we don't have any kind of annotations at anywhere. So probably this could be one of the possible feature where Google can focus and come up with this feature in the upcoming times. Second feature is mostly about sampling. Now everybody knows that in Google Analytics, whenever we apply any kind of a filter or a segment, there will be a sampling of the data. However, what happens is whenever we are having event category and action, so even if we are moving to event category to even action, the sampling rate will remain same in the Google Analytics. However, if in the GA4, if we are adding a new parameter to an existing event that we are tracking up, so now the data has will be changing completely to the based on the sampling rate based on the data that we are collecting as such. So if we are having a huge data that we are having in the database, then it will be very hard for us to have that sampling rate in a very niche way. So the only way to do is like we have to create every time we have to create a exploration reports continuously. So to avoid that, either we have to create a multiple reports or we have to create like multiple properties. So which in a way is not an efficient way of doing it. Third scenario is event tracking. Event tracking has been changed completely from the existing scenario to the like a new scenario. In the existing one, we have a three-layered structure. In the new scenario, it is a single layered with an extending parameters. The same thing that we are able to do in the same in the GA3 also. However, what happens is like in GA3, if we are adding any secondary dimension that we are passing up, which is not directly available in the event action and event label, it will be sampled to an extent. However, in the GA4, the sampling rate is very high when it is coming to the event tracking. So probably like Google has to focus on how they can improve the sampling rate in the events tracking that we are doing, because right now everything happens on the event tracking. So they have to majorly focus on how they can convert this sampling rate to a larger extent, because then only most of the people will get a lot of benefit from this feature, or else whatever the structure that they have changed for these events may not make that much sense. Now the fourth feature is nothing but the daily automated emailers. I think every organization must have one automated emailers as on date from the existing GA, because this is the bread and butter to understand what are the current number of users, or what are the current number of sessions, or the e-commerce conversion rate, or the transactions, or the average order value that we are having and all. But in the current GA4, again, this is not available, which can be a could be a possible feature that they can add it up in the upcoming features and all. And the other thing is like they have to create a separate third party extensions, and they have to pull the data and all, so which is a very tedious job again. Coming to the custom reports, so now we can create a lot of exploration reports in the GA4. But what is the difference? Every time whenever we create any kind of a custom reports, so what happens is like we are not able to convert them into a generic report completely. So in the GA, what happens is like if we can save that report, it will be stored as a standard report in the same UI. But what happens in the current scenario is we are not able to convert that into this similar kind of a format. What happens is like in GA4, it will allow you to create only the custom reports, but we can't export that because only a funnel report can be exported, but not the regular reports that we are using. So which will be again a difficult job to every time come to the explorations and look at this report. Otherwise what they can do is like they should give an like option to export everything from the explorations to the library sections, that whatever they have created. Feature 6. Feature 6 is more talking about sharing about the custom reports to a specific individual. What happens in regular GA is we can share our own custom reports or the share our own reports to a specific view itself completely. But in the current scenario, if we are sharing one report to another person, it will be shared with all the users who are there in that particular property at an org level, like at a property level, it will be visible to everyone, which is not an ideal way to display such kind of a scenarios. So we need to think about like how can we share this custom reports to a little bit of specific user level kind of a things. Even though at a user level, like we can create a certain number of reports and all, like 200 around, but however if we are keep sharing those things also, like it will be shared with multiple people and it will be keep piling up. I think this can be like avoided if we can have a restrictions whenever we are sharing the kind of a reports at a custom reports. Feature 7 is something like Play Console report, where they are providing an option to add this as a feature. However, what happens is like previously it is available in GM, however, it is not available right now, but there is a possibility to see the similar kind of a data in terms of crashes and exceptions for any kind of a Play Store data or installs and uninstalls. But now what happened is like in GA4 also they are giving this kind of an extension to add it up, but we don't see any kind of data that is available anywhere, that where can we see this data as such. However, if someone is using data studio as a base, there they can see that what is the crash free rate users or the crash free rate sessions and all like that. So which is not directly available in GA4, but it is available in the data studio, which is a little bit surprising again. Feature 8 is nothing but the limitation in collections. So currently we have a certain number of collections that are available in the library. So how can we add more number of collections? So at a user level, like it is giving only a certain limitation that we can add only up to 5 to 6 collections, and out of that a few standard collections are already existing. So if we want to deprecate those things, we have to unpublish them, and we have to create our own collections and we have to store it, or else Google has to increase the number of collections to a certain number itself. Because if we are having a certain different kind of reports, then we keep adding all of those reports in our collections itself rather than putting up in the explorations every time. Feature 9 talks about cross channel, which is a very big feature that Google has provided in their upcoming one as a GA4. So where they can do a cross channel kind of an understanding that how user is actually behaving from mobile web to an app or from kind of a scenario, which is not directly available in the GA, which is one of the good feature that they have launched. And This is one of the biggest feature where everybody is looking for in terms of understanding how their cross-channel behavior is happening. And the last feature is nothing but limitations in terms of number of items displayed in custom reports. Probably if someone has observed or not, what are the total number of features that we have displayed. So probably like whenever we are creating a custom report, we want to know that, for example, I am giving one scenario. If you are listing out total number of cities from which the data is actually tracking, like what are the different number of sessions that are coming from different cities. Now I want to know the total number of different cities as well in terms of the number of count. But whenever we are creating this kind of a report in the explorations, we will not be able to understand that what were the number of items that were getting displayed. We can do up to 500 only max, and the rest we have to do it as a unsampled report if you are having GA4 360 as well. So probably like this is one scenario where GA can focus better as well. That if we can give that extension that these are the number of items that are present and these are the number of items that are getting displayed as well. That will give an understanding that what is the limitations, what is the understanding that we are having while pulling the data further. In a nutshell, I will just give a heads up that GA4 is having a lot of limitations, but they keep consistently growing up in terms of how they can update their features on a day-by-day basis. But everybody should have their understanding that what are the current limitations that we are having whenever we are looking at the data in the GA4, and how can we avoid all these kind of a scenarios as well. Hope this helps everyone. Thank you.